It started like any other Thursday. We were halfway through third period when the loudspeaker crackled. Principal Harrow's voice followed, trembling. "Students and staff, this is a lockdown. Repeat, lockdown. Secure all doors. This is not a drill." Everyone froze. Our teacher, Mrs. Langston, went pale. She rushed to lock the door and shut off the lights. Her hands were shaking. Like she knew something we didn't. The room went still. No one talked. Phones vibrated. No calls. No texts. No signal. 10 minutes passed in silence. Just our breathing. Then, we heard it, a low moan echoing down the hallway. At first, I thought it was someone crying. But it didn't sound human. It sounded wet. Guttural. Starving. Mrs. Langston motioned for us to stay silent. She mouthed the words, "Don't move." The moan turned into footsteps. Heavy and uneven. Like something was dragging. Thump. Drag. Thump. Drag. It was coming closer. Then, it stopped outside our door. We heard it breathing. Deep, slow breaths. Like it was sniffing. I held my breath. My chest burned, but I didn't make a sound. Then, the doorknob turned. Click. 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 Mrs. Langston held it tightly, tears on her face. Whatever it was, it knew we were in there. The doorknob stopped moving. Silence followed. The kind of silence that buzzes in your ears. Then we heard it. A growl. Low and vibrating the floor beneath us. It wasn't human. A dark shape passed under the door. We couldn't see its body, only the shadow, but it left a thick trail on the floor. Something oily and dark. When it finally moved on, someone whispered, "What the hell was that?" A scream erupted from somewhere down the hall. Not a quick scream. Long, horrible. Then it cut off. People started crying. A few kids pulled out their phones again, trying to text. Still no signal. It was like we were completely cut off. Mrs. Langston finally spoke. "We're staying here. Do not make a sound. Do not open the door. No matter what you hear." But her voice was shaking. I could see it in her face. She didn't believe help was coming. That was when the fire alarm went off. The loud screeching filled the room. We all jumped. No one moved, but we knew what the alarm meant. Something triggered it. Something moving through the school. And then we heard another scream. Closer this time. The fire alarm blared, echoing off the walls. It made everything worse. We couldn't hear if the thing was nearby. Then came a loud crash, like lockers being torn open. It was right outside the classroom across the hall. There was another scream. Short. Muffled. Then nothing. I couldn't take it anymore. I crawled toward the window beside the door and peeked through the blinds. The hallway lights flickered, and through them, I saw something. Not clearly. But it was tall. Wrong-shaped. Its limbs were too long. Its skin looked like it was stretched too tight. It had no eyes, just a wide, quivering mouth full of black teeth. It turned toward our door. I dropped to the floor, heart pounding so loud I thought it would hear it. It stood outside for a full minute, just breathing. Then it moved on. We stayed frozen for what felt like forever. Finally, the fire alarm stopped. But now we knew. Something was hunting us. And the lockdown wasn't for safety. It was containment. 10 minutes passed. Maybe more. The silence was louder than the alarm had been. Then we heard footsteps. Fast. Human. Someone was running down the hall, yelling. "Let me in. Please." Oh God, Help me. Whoever it was slammed into our door. Let me in, please, it's coming. We all looked at Mrs. Langston. She stood frozen. He's going to die, I said. We can't open the door, she whispered. The boy on the other side pounded on the door again. Then suddenly, he stopped. A heavy breath followed. Not his. Then we heard bones snapping. A wet, horrible noise. Something dragged him away, leaving silence in its place. No one said anything after that. We were afraid to even blink. Then the intercom came on again. But it wasn't the principal. The voice was broken. Wet and gurgling. Words barely formed. You can't hide. That wasn't a recording. That thing had learned how to speak. We all stared at the intercom. No one moved. Then it spoke again. You can't hide. I see you. The voice sounded like it was mimicking us, learning our words. It was trying to talk like a person, but it wasn't one. We sat in total silence. Then the hallway lights went out. Total darkness. Someone next to me started to sob. Quietly. A second later, the emergency lights kicked in. Dim red lights filled the hall. And standing just outside the classroom door was the creature. It had come back. But it didn't move. It just stood there, staring at the door, head tilted. Then it raised its arm and tapped once on the glass. Tap. Then again. Tap. And a third time. Tap. Then it vanished into the dark. We sat there for what felt like hours. Mrs. Langston wrote a note and passed it around. It read, "Do not speak. If I die, stay put." That was the moment I knew she didn't think we were making it out. We all stared at the intercom. No one moved. Then it spoke again. You can't hide. I see you. The voice sounded like it was mimicking us, learning our words. It was trying to talk like a person, but it wasn't one. We sat in total silence. Then the hallway lights went out. Total darkness. Someone next to me started to sob. Quietly. A second later, the emergency lights kicked in. Dim red lights filled the hall. And standing just outside the classroom door was the creature. It had come back. But it didn't move. It just stood there, staring at the door, head tilted. Then it raised its arm and tapped once on the glass. Tap. Then again. Tap. And a third time. Tap. Then it vanished into the dark. We sat there for what felt like hours. Mrs. Langston wrote a note and passed it around. It read, "Do not speak. If I die, stay put." That was the moment I knew she didn't think we were making it out. Eventually, someone cracked. A boy in the back stood up, shaking his head. "This is insane," he whispered. "We can't just sit here and wait to die." Mrs. Langston grabbed his arm, but he pulled away and opened the storage closet. "I'm hiding in there," he said. "I'll block the door." He went in, shut the door, and that was that. 10 minutes passed. Then we heard it. The closet door creaked open. We all turned. He hadn't come back out. There was only silence. Mrs. Langston stood and moved slowly toward the closet. She opened the door. There was no one inside, just a smear of blood across the back wall. No exit. No ceiling vent. He was just gone. The thing could get into rooms without opening doors. We were never safe. Not even behind locked doors. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. But I couldn't move. The smell came next. Like rotting meat and burning plastic. It filtered under the door, thick and suffocating. Kids started coughing. One threw up quietly in a corner. That's when we heard something new. Laughter. from down the hall. But it wasn't funny. It was twisted. Broken. Like it didn't understand what laughing meant. It kept echoing. Closer. Then farther. Then closer again. It was toying with us. Trying to make us break. Trying to see who would move first. That's when we saw the security camera light in the corner blink. It had power. That meant someone was watching. I pulled out my phone and opened the school's emergency app. It showed a map of the campus. A single green dot blinked in the library. The security room. There was still someone alive in the school. If we could make it there, maybe we could find a way out. But getting there meant opening that door. Mrs. Langston said it was suicide. That no one was leaving. But I saw the fear in her eyes. She was waiting to die. I wasn't. I whispered to the others, we move in groups of 2. Stay low. Stay quiet. 3 of us volunteered. Me, Amanda, and Jace. We packed what we could, including scissors and a broken chair leg. Useless, but better than nothing. Then, we unlocked the door. The hallway was empty. The lights flickered, but we ran. Every shadow felt like death. Every locker groaned. The building was alive now. Halfway to the library, we saw something in the distance. It looked like a teacher, face turned away. Jace called out, but I grabbed him. Don't. The figure turned. Its face was stretched. Skin thin like paper. Eyes gone. Mouth sewn shut. It raised a hand and pointed at us. Then it screamed without opening its mouth. And from behind us, something answered. We ran. Amanda tripped but got up. We didn't look back. The scream behind us grew louder. Wet footsteps pounded after us. We dove into the library and slammed the door. A man sat in the corner behind a security desk. Pale. Bleeding. But alive. He pointed to the monitors. There were dozens. Every hallway was crawling with those things. Different shapes. Different faces. But all wrong. All unfinished. Like copies of people that didn't come out right. The man whispered, it's not one creature. It's many. Where did they come from? I asked. He shook his head. This school was built on something old, something buried. And they woke it up. They use our faces. Our voices. They can't survive in sunlight. Then the lights went out again. Total darkness. And we heard them in the walls. The walls groaned. Plaster cracked. The sound of claws scraping would surrounded us. They were in the ceiling. Beneath the floor. Inside the vents. The man stood up, holding a fire axe. We don't have long. He pointed toward a hatch beneath the desk. Old maintenance tunnels. They lead to the edge of the woods. We didn't argue. We crawled in, one by one, the tunnel walls wet and slimy. Behind us, the door shattered. They were coming. We ran through the dark, twisting corridors. Hours seemed to pass. Finally, we saw moonlight. We pushed open a metal grate and stumbled into the forest. The school behind us was silent again. But we knew the truth. That place wasn't a school anymore. It was a nest. And we were never supposed to leave.